Sixth grade, happy Friday. Welcome to a science test. I'm just going to try to help you out with your test here as we go through it. So number one, the Badlands would be found on page right here, 271, if you read there. Number two, roots that make cracks would be found over here on page 272. Why do farmers plant a cover crop over here on page 273? How has the salt in the ocean changed over the years? 274. What is an important difference between erosion and weathering? Weathering and erosion, guys, are back here on page 272 is weathering, erosion, 273 up here at the top. Overflow water comes down here on page 276. Look at the illustration below. This is a river delta. Which illustration of the river delta helped make that would be in here. The vocabulary word that goes with it might be up on 274 here, but you can certainly read about it over here on page 276. Mineral deposits in lakes and oceans are formed when, that's up here too. What needs to happen with those things? You'll see the sentence in that one. What causes tsunamis to form? That one's down here on causes of waves. Number 10, what causes sand dunes to form? Over here on page 281. Number 11, the land drained by a river is called, up here on page 277. Number 12, a longshore current is spelled out over here on page 280. The main process that shapes Earth's surface is, I believe it's in this one. Might be best here on page 276. I think it's also said in maybe in there. I'd go 276. Number 14, when will the amplitude of waves be the smallest? Amplitude of waves is down here on page 279. Glacier movements formed which bodies of water? Make sure I give you the right one here. Yep, 271. Number 16, one beach has white sand and one beach has black sand. The color of sand depends on what? That's the last one, page 281. In the ocean, where is wave energy the strongest? That's 278. You're on over here to short answer. Explain why a river deposits heavier sediments first and lighter sediments later. Boom, right here, 276 paragraph. Look at the diagram and label those things. So guys, you got to be able to label that. Number one, this one is the distance from here to here. This one, for this line, it's pointing to the bottom here. So your wave diagram is here, guys. It's beautiful, right out of the book here in the exact same order. That's really nice of them. Okay, so number one, make sure you put these 4 words in there. Number 2, describe what happens to the wave's amplitude as strong winds blow over the ocean. So if the winds are strong, your job is to write on this line, do amplitude get bigger or does amplitude get smaller? Number 2, name 2 forces that change coastal landforms and give an example of each. That's the next page here. One thing that changes the coast, the second thing that changes the coast. And then they have in there the 2 words or deposits that they have. So 1, 2. Number 21, mechanical weathering and chemical weathering are both processes that change their surface. Describe each type of weathering and then discuss how they are similar and how they are different. 6, if I was doing this, I'd draw a Venn diagram right here. In the middle, I'd describe what weathering is because both of those things weather. And then on the one side, tell me what mechanical weathering is, and then tell me what chemical weathering is. So in my mind, guys, you make that Venn diagram and you have 1 point in each one. Your definition of mechanical weathering, your definition of chemical weathering, and then your definition of just what weathering is, so that I can get the difference between those two and then how they're similar. So nothing too fancy there. Don't think you need to list more than 1 point for each. And last thing, it says this: tell me everything you know about waves. Here are some suggestions. There's like 3 or 4 things that cause waves. There are 3 things that influence the size of the waves. If I was talking about the movement of waves, that would be this first paragraph here, and especially this. You could give me some facts about waves if you wanted to look a few things up. You could use facts from your book, guys. Why we call them tubular, why we call it a breaker, tsunami, things like that. Anything else that you think that we need to know about waves. So this chapter talked about waves in this lesson. We're going to talk about waves again in the future when we move on to microwaves and radio waves and things like that. These features are still the same. Okay, extra credit says name agents that cause weathering. So guys, I use the word agents. I'll give you one you can put down. The wind is an agent that causes weathering. Now, before you go to the internet and type in agents that cause weathering and write down every little thing that pops up on the internet, it has to be in this book, guys. So some of us are using the internet and writing things off the internet that aren't in our book. Okay, I'm not interested in that, guys. I'm interested in, can you use the resources you've been given for a 6th grader to pull it off there. So you have to name different things that cause weathering. You had obviously a couple of them as we talked about the beach system, and then obviously the paragraphs in here listed a number of them as well. Your goal is to get 5 or 6 of them, and you get a few extra credit. All right, have a great day.